Thanks very much. Everyone's thanking a lot of people. So I'm going to get into the act. I'd like to thank two brilliant British women, Jane Austen and Kate Beckinsale. I'd also like to thank Amazon for buying our film in the United States and saving me from total bankruptcy. And I was very, very happy when Bob Burney of Amazon, a professional who I greatly respect, said that our film would be going out into cinemas May 13th in New York and Los Angeles, May 20th in San Francisco, and May 27th everywhere else. But it would be through a wonderful company who had distributed beautifully Love and Mercy last year, a film about the Beach Boys, a music group that I know about. And I was very, very pleased the Roadside Attractions would have us, because I followed their history and all the wonderful things they had done. I had not realized that, in keeping with Amazon's low-cost policy, that one of the reasons they were chosen was because of their no air travel policy, hence the name Roadside Attractions. The drive was really long and really scary. Those curves are bad. Anyway, our films have been much criticized for the obnoxious protagonists. People consider them obnoxious upper-class twits, but since we're Americans, they're upper-middle-class twits. They're preppy twits and yuppie twits. And so I wanted to make a film that would vindicate the characters in my prior films. I wanted to show you what a true upper-class twit looks like. So I hope you enjoy that portrayal. Thank you very much, and I will be returning here after the film with a beautiful superhero, an action superhero, Kate Beckinsale. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. What a pleasure.
So I just wanted to start off by asking about Jane Austen. There are so many reasons to love her work, but maybe you can say first why you wanted to adapt one of her works for film.
Well, this work that we adapted, that was titled Lady Susan, not by Jane Austen, but by her nephew, is unique in her work in that it's the most purely comic. So all Jane Austen is comic, and in the adaptations, even superb adaptations, the romantic has tended to dominate over the comic. And with this very funny piece with a wonderful character, Lady Susan Vernon, it gave a chance to really exploit and you know, properly frame the wonderful comedy of Jane Austen's mind and point of view.
So you've played in an Austen film before. This is your second. Maybe you could say what you like about playing her characters.
I seem to always play the naughty Jane Austen characters. Emma's very naughty, and I mean, obviously Lady Susan by far the naughtiest. one. But yeah, I mean, I think what I particularly like about this, and I don't know Whit knows actually much more extensively because I think you founded the Jane Austen fan club some time ago. I believe that she didn't publish this straight away and thought it was a bit frivolous and a bit, you know, too saucy. And so it wasn't published for quite a long time afterwards. And I can see why, but in terms of the literature at the time, you know, for example, Mansfield Park, any kind of the adulteress needs a very sticky end. You know. I wish I'd not said sticky end. Now I feel weird. Oh, we're in San Francisco. You're not afraid of it, it's just sticky. Yeah. Sorry, never give me a microphone.
We should have had more improv, I think, in the film. We missed an opportunity.
Anyway, but Lady Susan sort of sails through doing terrible things and manipulating everyone and then ends up with the sort of perfect situation that she would have wanted, which is, you know, sort of subverts everything that we're used to, I think, in that period of literature. And I just thought she was hilarious and great.
Many of your films are period pieces, so I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about your approach to period, because, you know, one of the things that people say about Jane Austen's work is that it feels so contemporary.
Well, what I liked about it was there were no cell phones in those days. These massive amounts of criticism of contemporary films goes into whether you show enough of modern technology, enough cell phones or not enough cell phones. And we totally avoided that question with this film. But it was actually really pleasant shooting this in sort of the backlot of period films, which is Ireland. Because we had an incredible crew, and I think Emer, who did the costumes, was just marvelous. And so in a way, it was far easier doing the 1790s than the 1980s. They're not costume houses specializing in 1980s. As far as I know, we didn't find them. And in this case, there were beautiful costume houses and also costumes created for the actresses and horses and carriages that could be hired, and so it was good that way.
And what about you? Do you like working in the period piece? How does that help you with your character?
I mean, it was how I began when I started acting in the 1920s years ago. That's all we were making in England. It was so unusual to ever wear a pair of jeans at work, you know. And so this feels much more like what I'm used to, and I had forgotten how difficult it is to, because I think they must have all been 5 feet tall. Trying to get into one of those carriages, they're minute. I mean, they're literally built for a toddler, and so you sort of gracefully get in, and then you find yourself sort of stuck, you know, because you don't actually fit unless you fold yourself in half inside. So that was always quite fun, rediscovering all that.
This is the part where I would love to lower the cone of silence over each of you so you could talk about each other without the other one hearing, but I'm so glad you're not doing that. I just wanted to ask you about casting, and you know, I know that the film had a sort of long development process, and at what point you started to think that Kate Beckinsale might make a fantastic Lady Susan Vernon?
Well, about the time I read it, I thought she'd make a fantastic Lady Susan. So Kate is the only actress I've had in mind for sort of parts before or while I'm writing them. So always, and I saw Cold Comfort Farm when I was just beginning Last Days of Disco, and I immediately thought of her the whole time. And the casting process in London, the casting person didn't realize this at first, but it was made clear to her. The casting process in London was to get Kate Beckinsale on tape. That's what we're doing. We're not looking at other people, we're getting Kate on tape. And so she auditioned for Last Days of Disco, and it was just perfect. And there was like no direction at all. It was just marvelous. And then when I read this, I thought another brunette, extravagant character like Charlotte in Last Days of Disco, and so it was always in mind. And then there are the twists and turns of your financiers and all that, which agency she's with, because I particularly like the agency that Kate's with, which is my agency, which I think...
God, thank God, thank God.
Anyway, I like... I mean, you're still with them, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good.
I shan't leave now you've said that.
Anyway, it was all good that way.
And did you immediately think that you would be reuniting the cast of Last Days of Disco?
That sort of happened. I mean, all these things happen so oddly. We didn't have the money, and so... but it was really great the way everything came together really quickly right before we needed to. So it worked out beautifully.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about how you work on the set, especially for a comedy. Do you do a lot of, is everything very precise? Are you allowed to? No?
No, that isn't us.
It was a different challenge this time. I mean, Whit does like write some amazing, brilliant, long speeches, even if they're set in the 80s, but this one was a bit like, how long did we have to shoot the movie? It wasn't very long, was it?
We had 27 days, and you did it in 26 days.
26 days. So it's quite a lot of words to do. You know, so we had several scenes a day, and it was a bit like sort of quickly speed do King Lear, go. It was a bit like that. And one of the things that is exciting about working with Whit is that he's, you know, he's very in the moment as well as incredibly precise with the script and all of that. So it can transpire that he'll get suddenly, you know, very inspired by something he's seeing happening and then change it all around a bit. And of course, you know, as an actor, you go, oh no, oh God, I won't remember it. But then he's always right. Like, for example, all the Tom Bennett stuff, Whit became understandable. We did a read-through that Tom Bennett, who played the very hilarious very brilliant man. He was not present at the read-through physically, and so it was most of us, and then somebody had a computer that Tom was Skyping in, which is sort of intimidating, I think, for an actor. You're not actually in the room. Anyway, smashed it so hard from within this computer, completely derailed the read-through. Everybody was roaring. I mean, he arrived at this extraordinary character performance. And then you sort of gave him quite a few extra bits, which, you know...
But it must have been terrifying, the makeup chair, because the makeup chair was not only the makeup work, but normally sort of touch-ups to the script.
Yes, exactly.
That's what you wanted, right? To take your mind off the makeup. I just sort of distract you from the makeup.
Thank you. Because there wasn't much of it either, so it was nice to have a distraction. But yeah, so that's one of the things that's really great, is that he's one of the few directors who is so incredibly writes his own scripts and everything. He knows everything backwards. He's completely precise and on top of it, and usually appears to have a PhD in whatever it is that he's doing both times. And then suddenly we'll completely change it up in the spur of the moment as well, which is, you know, that's not everybody that can do both of those things and make it work brilliantly.
All right, now I think we'll take a few questions from the audience. There should be people with microphones. Yeah, they're going to run to you, so if you hold up your hands, someone will come and ask a question. In the meantime, while they're finding a question...
There's a forest of hands.
Yeah. Okay, we got one.
Hi, we're here.
Hi.
I was just curious, Kate, how was it being directed by Whit now versus Last Days of Disco?
Well, Last Days of Disco, I'd only ever been to America once, and it was to go to Disneyland when I was 9. So I didn't feel very well prepared to kind of pull off this extremely specific strata of people that Whit knew very well, and I obviously didn't know at all. Have we gone into someone's baby monitor?
We're just hearing a little radio feedback.
Okay.
They're listening to you, though.
Okay, sorry, this is concerning. So I was very kind of off my game and had never been to New York before, and you know, really sort of stalked Whit and Chloe, trying to copy their voices and sort of be like them and things like that. So it was a huge relief this time to not have to do that, because I felt I was a bit more on my territory there. But it was very similar. The only difference really was a little bit less disco dancing. That was it.
The only accent problem we had was there was one take when you were both walking from your publishing office to Grand Central Station, and there was a take, and we listened to it, and Chloe had picked up your English accent from talking to you between scenes. So that was our accent problem.
And you don't think he had changed? Have you changed your directing style at all since?
No, he's still obsessed with background. You're obsessed with background. It's very funny.
Really? Is that true?
Yes, it's brilliant. You can have the longest, most complicated speech and the dance and everything, and Whit will be going like this, and then I'll cut, and then he'll go, that gardener that's 3 miles away, I like it.
I just don't want you to be nervous about your dialogue, so I focus on the
focus on something else,
yes.
Anything else.
It's distraction.
Yeah, I remember that very well for the first time.
Do you have another question from the audience? There's one there.
Yeah, hi, this is for Whit, I guess. One thing I noticed throughout the movie was that it seems like every scene or almost every shot actually opens with the first person you see on the screen as somebody from it seems like from the servant class or sort of the working class people. And I was trying to find a contrast between that and the sort of aristocracy or the sort of privileged position of people that were kind of the subject of the film, but I wasn't sure if I could get a read on if that was a commentary or something they were inserting, or if it was just something that was sticking out.
I'm afraid it's just sort of the practicalities of the script and the shoot, so I probably didn't think through exactly what the transition was going to be from one dialogue scene, from one sort of set piece scene to another. And we had these wonderfully dressed extras in wonderful locations. And sometimes we had free time, and we had the camera and all the lighting set up, so we just shoot whatever we could, whatever was available. And in the editing room, every little thing we shot extra turned out to be great for going between scenes and linking scenes and creating montages. And then with the editor bringing in sort of this beautiful Baroque music that we had, she could sort of have it all sort of flow together. So it was really fantastic that we, were able to shoot that extra stuff. And I'd like to say there's some sort of higher purpose of the class structure. But yeah, there's a lot of thinking about that. I'm glad you caught it, because I wasn't sure you would understand what I was trying to get at there.
Credit right at the end that said, read the Love and Friendship novel in which Lady Susan is entirely vindicated. Is that just Lady Susan published under another name? Or?
Were you sent here by Little Brown? Thank you for that question. Because there is a novel in which Jane Austen's Lady Susan will be completely vindicated. No, Lady Susan Vernon will be completely vindicated. So I wrote a novel, crazily enough, I wrote a novel based on the film. And so that's coming out in May also. And it includes, as an appendix, with commentary by Lady Susan's nephew, Jane Austen's original. So you can get both Jane Austen's original Lady Susan, plus the vindication of Lady Susan Vernon. And Kate's very happy that her character is finally going to be vindicated. Because she was worried about that during the shoot. And I said, she will be vindicated one day.
It was in my contract that...
Yes, vindication. I will be vindicated. So that novel comes out, and I hope someone will buy it.
I will.
And I'll just, to do a festival full circle thing, we're giving an award during the festival to Janus Films in the Criterion Collection. And I know just 2 days ago you have a beautiful box set that just came out.
Yes, which features a lovely actress. So Last Days of Disco, Barcelona, and Metropolitan have just come out from Criterion. And I think they will be here very shortly. And they deserve whatever award they get, because it's a great company.
Did you participate in the extras on the last days of disco?
I've had a child since then. Did I? I don't remember.
You're everywhere present.
I'm everywhere.
All right, let's take a last question from the audience. There's still that question right there.
Hi, I love the movie. Well done.
Thank you.
Whit, there were a couple scenes where I could not help getting the Monty Python vibe. I felt like I was watching Monty Python. Are you a fan?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. The dancing scene is hilarious.
Oh, good.
I lost it on that one.
Thanks very much. Yes. I mean, the whole sort of casting panorama in the film is wonderful because I think there's so many different casting angles and acting styles, and we of course have Kate like carrying the whole production, but we also have, you know, Chloe Werther, and then we have James Fleet, who's, you know, since well before Four Weddings, The Funeral, and Sense and Sensibility has been just doing such a great thing with Gemma Redgrave. I mean, it's a sensational cast. And then what you detect is the Monty Python are sort of our comedians who entered the cast. Tom Bennett playing our upper class twit, Sir James Martin. Really marvelous. And then I think he's really well supported by Justin Edwards playing Charles Vernon, who's the most obliging of husbands. And so thank you for detecting that, because we really enjoyed that aspect of everything.
And also thank you for enjoying that dancing, because it did nearly kill me. It's so difficult to dance and have a cloister on and laugh that much. I actually did nearly die. Also, because I had so much words to that, other people had kind of the odd day off here and there, and I didn't really. So they'd all been able to practice it a bit. They were all really good at it. I came clumping in like this rhino, got it wrong every time.
It didn't look that way.
You helped me a lot in the edit. Thank you for that. But yeah, it was very, very funny.
Did not look galumping for sure.
Thanks. There was a lot of galumping actually.
Well, we asked Sir James Martin to do the glumping.
Yes, I might have been out galumped.
Well, thank you so much for this wonderful film.
Thank you very much for having us.
Sharing it.